Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all keeping well. In today's video we're going to be explaining how ND filters work and how to use them on your drone. So let's jump into the video. Okay, first off, let's dispel a few myths around ND filters. They don't make your grass greener, they don't make your sky bluer, they don't make the clouds clearer, they don't add contrast to your image, they don't add sharpness to your image, they do nothing to your image. And to prove this, I'm going to show you two clips now, one with an ND filter and one without an ND filter. Okay, so here we have two clips, clip A and clip B. One of them has an ND filter on, the other one obviously does not. I don't think you'll be able to see a difference, but if you can, why not comment below and let me know them differences. Okay, that's what ND filters don't do, but let me show you what ND filters can do. Here we have the drone's camera in automatic mode with no ND filter. I'm guessing that the shutter speed is probably around 1/2000th of a second. At these settings, any movement in the shot is going to look very clunky. If you look at my waving arm, there's no motion blur to the movement. It almost looks like a robotic arm, maybe at times even with two arms waving there. Now look at this next clip with the correct ND filter on the drone's camera. Look at the motion of the arm, it's a lot more pleasing and more natural looking. But let's take a screenshot from both of these clips to see what's going on. The clip that has clunky motion is like frozen still, but the more pleasing natural shot has a clear motion blur in the image. This is because the ND filter has lowered our shutter speed to double our recording frame rate. We'll touch on this in a minute. So we've shown you what ND filters are not capable of doing. They don't change the colours or anything like that, and we've shown you what they are capable of, lowering the shutter speed so you get a nice motion blur. The way to think of them is sunglasses for your camera. In fact, imagine you've got two pairs of sunglasses, one with a 75% tint and one with a 25% tint. When would you wear the 75% tint ones? That's right, on a really sunny bright day, and the same goes for ND filters. You put the higher density ND filter on your camera to block more of the light out. When would you wear sunglasses with a 25% tint? Maybe when it's a bit overcast but still bright? The same goes for ND filters. Let's jump out with the drone and give you a demonstration of this. Okay, so we've brought the Mavic Mini out today along with our set of ND filters. Now before we fly, it's best to put the overexposure warning on to tell us when the image is too bright. This will help us later. Press the three dots in the top right corner, then press Camera, Advanced Camera Settings, and make sure the overexposure slider is set to on. Here we can see that we now have these zebra stripes where the image is too bright. Let's go into manual camera mode. Our image is now overexposed as shown by the zebra stripes. It means our image is way too bright. Let's see what frame rate we're recording at first. Here you can see I'm recording at 24 frames per second. The important rule is that our shutter speed should be double that of our recording rate. Because I'm recording at 24 frames per second, I would need a shutter speed of 48 or 50 because we don't have 48. This will give us the nice looking motion blur we're after. But I can't get the image exposed correctly at a shutter speed of 50. I wonder what I could use to limit the light entering the camera. So let's get our ND filter set out. In this set I have 5 filters, each with a different level of tint or density. An ND4, 8, 16, 32 and 64. The higher the ND number, the darker the tint and the less light can enter the camera. So let's take the lowest tint ND filter, the ND4, and put it onto the drone's camera and see what it does to our image. Look at the zebra stripes now. We have gone from this very overexposed image to this moderately overexposed. And here is the footage straight from the camera. It's still too bright, but a lot better already. So let's try on the next ND filter, the ND8. This should block out more of the light from entering the camera. And again, you can see our overexposure warning stripes are even less, and the image from the drone is nearly spot on. Just slightly too bright still. So let's stick the next ND filter on, the ND16. And now look at the zebra stripes, they've almost vanished. This is how the scene looked to me, and this ND filter is perfect for this situation. We now have our shutter speed at double our frame rate, and we'll get the most natural looking motion blur. That looks pretty good, you ask me. Now the process of putting on ND filters can be quite long if you're taking off and landing to change them. So here is a technique I use. By turning the drone on and off without taking off, you can hold the drone and control at the same time to see if your exposure is correct on the screen. Just make sure to turn your drone off so you don't damage the gimbal every time. The whole process of changing the filters can be done within a minute by not flying the drone in between filter changes. Okay, so it's another day, so let's see what ND filter we will need today. The light conditions have changed today, it's a bit brighter, so we need to put on a different filter. Yesterday we needed the ND16, but because it's brighter today we need to block more of that light out. So let's try the ND32. And will you look at that, we are perfectly exposed straight away. No need to change the filter. The image from the drone looks perfect. But let's come back another day when the conditions have changed again one last time. Okay, so we're back again. This time it's blue sky and pretty bright. So again, we're going to need to block more of that light out. Let's stick on the ND64. Okay, I can see straight away it's too dark or underexposed. Our meter reading also tells us it's too dark. In this instance, we have two options. We can either change back to the ND32 or slightly alter the settings. Let's alter the settings and see if we can get the image right. I'm going to drop the shutter speed to 40 to let slightly more light in to see if that helps. Nope, still too dark. So in this instance I'm just going to pump up the ISO to 200. You want to keep that ISO as low as possible though to maintain quality. Nope, shutter speed of 40 is definitely good. So we've adjusted the settings just slightly to correct the exposure, and that looks pretty decent. We will still get that nice motion blur even though we've changed the shutter speed just slightly. Always remember that when you're flying your drone you are introducing movement into static objects. That's why it's important to get that nice natural looking motion blur. So now we have an understanding of the levels of tint on our ND filters, we can label them up for easier reference next time. ND4 will be good for dark days, ND8 for overcast days, ND16 for bright but overcast days, ND32 for bright days, and ND64s for really bright days. Bear in mind though that not all ND filter sets are manufactured to the same level, so it's always worth running your own test to see how your filter sets perform. So there we go, I hope you really enjoyed that. Remember, don't be scared of ND filters. Go out there, try them, and if you can't get it, come back, watch the video again. And remember, you can always hit back to automatic camera mode, so you can't go wrong. But give it a try, because once you start understanding how the shutter speed works, you can mess around with all different kind of techniques and getting more natural looking motion blur. So I really hope this video helps you out. If you think it did, why not give it a like down there? And if you want to see further content from myself, why not subscribe to the channel? Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe guys, we'll catch up soon.